Hello, everybody. It's Hank again. Coming to you before we get into the holidays to talk about something that we need to discuss, um, and that is social media and the independent filmmaker. Okay, um, using social media is a tool. It's probably going to be, as an independent filmmaker, one of your biggest tools you're going to use in order to get the word out about your film, get talk to share your journey as a filmmaker, and to share any press or media that you have concerning your film. But just a little background number: um, about 80% of filmmakers don't use social media um, to market their films, and that's a surprising number. But that's just how it's become for a lot of filmmakers out there. They just don't use it. Some of the uh, the biggest reason why is um, uh, that most filmmakers aren't successful independently is that they fail to plan an effective marketing strategy. They don't have a marketing strategy that includes social media as part of their marketing arsenal. Um, some are uninterested. You have your artiste who, hey, I just want to make movies, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you plan on making films that go to the mass market, you're gonna have to find a way to reach them, for them to reach you. Uh, I find one of the biggest things is people just uneducated on social media. They don't know how to use it. They haven't either taught themselves or put themselves in a position where they learn how to use it. Don't have enough time. Social media is time consuming, but we have to find a way to make time in order to use it. I'm sure we can look through our week and find some things that we waste time on that we can sacrifice to effectively market our films, um, and artistic pride. You know, uh, uh, which also known as the over reliance of the traditional film model. The traditional model most filmmakers will go after is they're going to make their indie film. They're going to enter it as many film festivals as they possibly can. They're going to win or become an official selection at said film festivals and get a distribution deal. Okay, that's the uh, which will get them in the normal brick and mortar movie theaters. That's the dream. That's the model that we all strive for as filmmakers. The traditional film model where we'll get our films into the theaters, we get a distribution deal, we'll go to the film festivals, been the indie darlings of the film festivals, and get ourselves in a brick and mortar theaters. Okay, the realities of the film festival circuit. Trying to sell your films at a film festival is very hard. Um, 35 to 45,000 films are made. Independent films are made every year, and they try to get into major film festivals. Of those, around 600 actually make them in. With Sundance, you have over 4,000 applicants, and probably about 200 of those films even make it in. And around 20 to 30 of those films actually get a deal. So 50 to 100 films actually get a distribution deal per year out of all of these film festivals in thousands and thousands of entries. Okay? So, with that being said, um, we got to look at a couple of things. We have to look at social media as an alternative. We have to look at social media as a tool. We have to look at social media as a way, another way, if you will. Um, we look at Facebook. Facebook has more mobile users than non-mobile users. Around 500 billion minutes per month are spent on Facebook. The average Facebook user is connected to 60 pages or which are groups and events. Um, Twitter, they get around 30,000 new users per day. Over 60% of Twitter users are outside of the U.S. So if you're looking at building an audience that is offshore or international, that's something to look at. That over 60% of Twitter users are not in the United States. There are more than 50,000 third-party apps for Twitter, which I've always talked about that. Developing apps or developing filmmaker apps for social media. That's always something that we can look into. A lot of things that people see on social media is via mobile device. So you can keep that in mind when you're making your trailers and posting your clips, that people are going to see these things on the go. So that's going to definitely be to your advantage. They're not tied down to a TV screen watching a commercial on network television. They can watch your trailers on the go. They can see your trailers in social media, or your clips or your interviews, and anything that you put out there can be easily accessed in social media. Now, YouTube gets more than 2 billion views a day. So keep that in mind. I know there are some people that are anti-YouTube out there, but keep in mind, like, again, YouTube gets more than 2 billion views per day. The U.S. accounts for 70% of the YouTube views. Over half of YouTube users are under the age of 20. Okay, so definitely speaks to demographic. If you're making a film with a certain demographic in mind, 18 to 24, 25, 36, whatever your demographic is for your particular film, just keep in mind that over half of YouTube users are under the age of 20. Okay, so they spend a lot of time on YouTube. And lastly, music videos account for 20% of YouTube uploads. So if you're making music videos, YouTube probably isn't the best place to put them. A lot of people don't. For one, a lot of artists don't do music videos as much as they used to. And secondly, YouTube isn't really the best place to put them. So kind of think about that. Facebook, Twitter, those probably be your better places to place your music videos if you're doing music videos. That's just if you're following the numbers. The basic social media strategy is just to post stuff. Okay, and we see it a lot in filmmaker groups that we're in and other places that we're in. You just have people who just post shit. They just post it anywhere on a thread that's unrelated to what you're talking about altogether. They'll just post it out there. They'll tag people in it who don't want to be tagged in it, and just very just seat of your pants kind of social media posting. That's just people's average. That's their norm of posting about their film. So it becomes unfocused, uninteresting, unwanted, and you're gonna wind up getting yourself unfriended by a lot of people. Basically, you're a fucking spammer, and nobody likes a spammer. So kind of be careful with that when you're putting stuff out. Gotta have a plan before you post something on social media, and don't hijack people's threads and all of that. It's not effective. It's never effective to look unfocused and unprofessional in social media. Crowdfunding is basically the practice of funding your project or venture by raising monetary contributions from a large number of people, typically via the internet. And social media plays a huge part in that. If you are crowdfunding using via Indiegogo or Kickstarter, which are you're going to be your two main platforms, or GoFundMe, which is a little newer, but either one, could help you raise funds for your projects. Now, keep a couple of things in mind before you select either one of these platforms. Now, with Kickstarter, Kickstarter is a all or nothing funding model. In other words, um, your goal has to be reached. Okay, when you put a goal out there, your goal has to be reached. This is a good thing, for a lot of filmmakers. It's a good and bad thing. It's a good thing that it forces you to focus on your campaign. You're gonna put a lot into that campaign, doing video promos and really speaking about your project and really putting things out there in order to drive traffic to that social media funding platform. So the good thing is, it requires you to work. Launching a project, if you're outside of the U.S. with Kickstarter, is a little harder. So if you don't live in the U.S., you live in Canada or somewhere else, it's going to be a little harder to do it because of the money exchange rates. Kickstarter only funds creative projects, so that's the thing about it. Unlike your GoFundmes or Indiegogos, they only fund creative projects. So that's another thing, like video games, books, films, etc. So you can't fund your college tuition or kickstart my new business, selling insoles or anything like that. You can't do that. It's just basically for a creative project. So most recently you saw films like Kung Fury and The Sweet Blood of Jesus, Zach Braff's film, and then the Veronica Mars film were all funded using the Kickstarter platform. Now Indiegogo has a smaller community of backers. It's not an all or nothing. Whatever you raise, you can get, minus whatever fees they take out. There's a lot less buzz surrounding Indiegogo campaigns than there is Kickstarter. Kickstarter journalists actually follow Kickstarter campaigns, and the campaigns that are taking off well, they write about them. So in social media. So if you have a campaign that you're asking for 2,000 and you wind up raising 20,000 or 40,000 or something of that nature, journalists they see that and they'll write about that. So, but you don't have the legion of journalists following Indiegogo campaigns as you do Kickstarter. That's changing, but it's slow, So and it avoids the all or nothing model. Okay, so a lot of filmmakers have less sense of urgency when using Indiegogo because they know at the end of the day, whatever I raise, I'm still going to get a percentage of it. So it's not an all or nothing like Kickstarter. So some people don't put as much effort into it, and I'm not saying filmmakers don't, because trust me, I've seen filmmakers use Indiegogo and put a lot of effort into it and get what they ask for and more. I've used both. I find Kickstarter to be a little bit better, but Indiegogo is more attractive because it has the all or nothing feature. And something else that Indiegogo added was a refund feature recently. So, I mean, that's another thing you have to think about as far as social media and promoting your film. I mean, if you launch a campaign and you ain't doing shit and somebody's giving you money, you'll kind of look shady to people. I mean, you say, hey, I'm making this movie, give me some money, and we don't hear anything for the next 30 days. Some people, will find that a bit shady, so they can pull their money back. So that's another thing you have to think of. You ask people for money, you need to be willing to give updates and things about what you're doing. So that's another feature that they added, was the refund feature. Capture everything. When you're on the set making your film, whether it's a short film or a feature, take pictures of everything. Take pictures of people on the set. Take pictures of people eating craft service or whatever you have available on the set. Take pictures of everything. Either do it yourself or hire somebody or get a friend to take some nice high quality pictures to post in social media. That keeps people abreast of your journey. That lets people know that you really doing what you say you're doing. And the more you share your journey with people on social media, the more people will get behind what you're doing, not only now, but in future projects. I've always found that to be successful for myself, you know, in the short films that I've done prior, is that I shared my journey. I posted pictures all the time about what I was doing on the set, little clips, you know, little funny clips or whatever was going on that day. I would post in social media, and that was very beneficial when it came to raising funds through either Kickstarter or Indiegogo. You know, that people, I brought everybody along on the journey with me by posting things all the time. So that's another thing you need to think about while you're on set. Capture everything. Take pictures of everything. Now, when I was a little greener and I was making my film, my little short films, and I talked about doing a feature, you know, a friend of mine who's in the business, he asked me a question. He said, "What is your transmedia strategy for your film, my feature?" And I kind of gave him a look and made a sort of a noise that kind of went between like a scream and Scooby Doo, you know, because I didn't understand what he meant. I didn't know what the hell transmedia strategy was. And, you know, so I did some, of course, I started studying up on it. And transmedia marketing is the plan for your film utilizing every form of media available to you, including social media. Um, I'll talk about like a bigger film. Let's look at a film like Harry Potter. Okay, a Harry Potter film. You know, it's gonna have a theater run. It's gonna be on cable. It's gonna be on video on demand. It's gonna be on DVD and Blu-ray. It's gonna have a dedicated Facebook page. It's gonna have a dedicated Twitter. They're gonna put videos on YouTube, trailers, behind the scenes footage, tweets, links to articles, videos, pics on Instagram. They're gonna have Instagram photos of the cast, promotional art about, you know, the characters and everything, video games, or like I was talking about earlier, apps about the film. They're gonna have all those things in place that to totally encompass you in that experience. So that's what I mean by transmedia strategy. What is your strategy that is available to you that you can use to that encompasses every bit of social media that you can get your hands on. A lot of us, of course, we can't afford to take out TV ads and newspaper ads and things like that. But you have to ask yourself, what do I have at my disposal that I can fully use in order to, you know, get my film out there? So you got your film made, and you know, can I use Twitter? Can I use Instagram? Can I use Facebook? Can I use anything in social media to help get the word out there, on top of, you know, your DVDs or Blu-rays or video on demand, or however you're going to get that film out? What is my transmedia strategy for getting my film out there? And that all goes into audience engagement. And audience engagement is basically how are you drawing your people in? How are you drawing your audience in? So the key to a successful content strategy is to know that there are 3 stages to engagement, and what content is required for each stage, and what the goal is for each stage. So the 3 stages of engagement are going to be discovery, experience, and exploration. Discovery, imagine going into your refrigerator and you find a leftover dish from your favorite restaurant. It's been in there for a couple days. And shit, so you're gonna smell it, and based on how it smells, should I risk it? Okay, I taste it. Where am I gonna like it after all these days? That's discovery. And discovery with films are images, and you put out images like your posters or concept art, trailers, things like that. So that's the initial. You're gonna, you know, sniff around the trailer and say, should I risk it? Do I want to know more? Let me figure out if I want to get involved in this. The next stage is experience. You know, so you see, I see the trailer for what it is, and I want to know a little more about the project. You know, so I'm in now based on the trailer and things that I've seen. You know, little clips and posts and images and little clips they've shown me. Okay, I'm in now. So exploration. That's the third part of the art of engagement, is that you're gonna want to know in your social groups. Am I alone? Hey man, have you seen this trailer about this movie that's coming out with that guy? Um, I want to know more about it, so I'm gonna start looking it up. I don't know that act. I don't know that actress. I mean, it looks interesting, but I want to know a little bit more. And what's out there about that? I mean, a lot of people make their purchasing decisions based on what's out there in the internet. You hear a song, or you see a trailer or whatever. First thing a lot of people do, they go to the internet. They want to know if there's more information out there for it. If you don't have anything out there, they're not. That's their experience stops right there. I just saw the clip, and okay, I don't really know anything else about it. I don't know who made it, when it's coming out, none of that. There's no pictures, no clips, no nothing out there about it. So, I mean, should I keep going and explore this more, or now that I know there's some more information out there, I want to know more? And hey, oh, they're raising money for the film, and based on what I've seen, I might want to help. I might want to lend $5, $10 to help out. So who else knows about this, and what websites can I look at? That tells me more about this film, or are there any reviews? The film's out. Are there any reviews about it? Is anybody talking about this? Are people reposting this on Twitter, or am I the first one? Is there a hashtag that I can put out there? So you got to look at the stages of engagement. Some people, you want people to experience all three stages: the discovery, the experience, and the exploration phase of your film. You don't want them to just stop at the trailer. You want them to take in the trailer and be engaged. They want to know more about your film. Social media isn't the end all be all. And the biggest thing that you have to realize is that you're not alone. You have your cast, your crew, your friends, your co-workers, mom and them, your parents and your family and immediate family and everybody else. Another tool of social media, which, if you have friends and family and cast and crew and things like that, not only should you be posting about those things on social media, so should they. And so that was very effective for my last short film, As We Lay. I had two actors in the film who rode just as hard as I did in social media for the film. I mean, they were on it every day. They were posting stuff every day, clips and pictures and everything else, just as hard as I was. And so that should be the same thing that you do in your film, because not only is your film your calling card or part of your resume, it's part of theirs too. So as they share with their friends and family, their friends will tell their friends, and their friends will tell their friends, and so on and so on and so on. So that's the way that works. Not to say that it'll go viral or anything like that, but the more people that you have in your corner posting for you in social media, the further it'll go. All this does is helps you build an audience. It's what you should be doing. Of course, you can bypass social media. You can go out, print up flyers, and go tell all your friends about the film that you're making, and leave social media alone. But that'll kind of limit you, in what you're doing. And if you want to limit yourself, that's totally up to you. But social media helps you build an audience. It helps you get work without physical networking. Physical networking is hard. If you think that social media networking is hard, physical networking is harder, because that actually requires you to get up off your ass and get out there and go all types of places and meet all kinds of people in order to network your film. Now, if you don't have time to do it on social media, then I don't know where you're going to find the time to travel around to different states and everything else to promote your film either. So you got to look at what's more time consuming or time saving, and what's more cost effective way to do it. All this stuff brings people closer to you. So why would anyone get behind you if they don't know you? And I've talked to this about friends and colleagues and everything else. That's one of the big things you got to look at before you launch any kind of social media crowdfunding campaign is, why should I give you money? I don't know anything about you. I haven't heard anything about your film. I've not shared in your journey. I'm making a film, give me money doesn't work. It's a campaign. And with any campaign, you get to know the candidate. You have to get to know that person. You have to get to know what they're doing. You have to get to know their film and what it's about, who's in it, what impact is it going to have, or is it going to be entertaining? This is something that I should get engaged with? Do I have those 3 stages of experience to get behind that film in order to give this person money? So you have to really think about all these things before you launch a crowdfunding campaign in social media. So in conclusion, and I teach this stuff, man. I mean, I studied this stuff for years, and I teach it, and I apply it, and it's worked for me. And I have no doubt that when I do my documentary and then go on to do my feature, that I'll have a good time doing it, because I've taken the time to learn this stuff, and I'm sharing this stuff with you because, like I said, this is stuff that I've studied. This is stuff that I'm passionate about. Again, I know social media isn't for everybody, and I understand that. And probably some of the biggest reasons why is people just don't understand how to use it. They don't know how to utilize it, and so it scares them, or they just avoid it altogether. And that's unfortunate, because social media is free. You can draw in audiences that you never knew you could have. If you're in videography, you can gain new customers. I've done that. As doing photography and videography, I've gained new customers just by having things out there, or having people see my journey as a filmmaker, and me sharing things like this with you. So you can take any of this with a grain of salt. You can definitely go look up the information for yourself. Don't take my word for it. But I implore you to definitely use social media as part of your arsenal in marketing your films and projects. You won't regret that. You have nothing to lose by doing it, and probably everything to lose by not. So good luck in making your films. Again, if you have any questions of me, you know how to reach out to me in my inbox, and I'll be happy to answer whatever questions I have. Again, I am no expert on anything. I just take the time to study things, and I share them. So we don't look out for one another, who else will? All right? You guys have a great night, and happy filmmaking.